I didn't steal that format at all from anybody. Nobody at all. Today, our topic is which movies? You know, which movies which? Which movies do you like with witches? With which have movies? Which movies do you have in your mind with which contain witches? In which those witches eat sandwiches. Thank you for watching. It's going to be a fun show today. I'm very excited. I'm getting there. Sipping my coffee. I hope that you guys are having a good day. I hope that you've had a good night last night. A lot of things going on in the news. We've got Kanye decompensating. Now, it's really important to understand that Kanye West has a mental illness, severe mental illness, called bipolar disorder. And it's hey, Ismail, welcome. I've got all the chats up and ready to go, so if you guys are on Facebook, y'all can join the Discord. I'll send out the link to the Discord. Y'all can centralize the chat there. Facebook, I can't quite see. It doesn't show up in the chat here. I don't know why. Maybe I've got to connect that. It says 2 people are watching on Facebook, so you 2 people like this video, put a heart next to it, love it, share it, give it a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Now, there are these things called algorithms, and they're kind of like witchcraft, aren't they? There are all sorts of different platforms that you can use. Hey, Angie, welcome. I move away from the mic to sip my coffee. Just like my friend Tezande. Today we're talking about witch movies. You guys have a favorite witch movie? I remember the movie Witches of Eastwick. That was a fun one. I really enjoyed that. Although I always look at cherries differently since that one. If you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. They puke cherries. He pukes cherries for like a whole 5 minutes. It's gross. There's lots of vomiting. In the 80s, there was lots of vomit in movies. Remember the movie Stand By Me, the pie eating contest? It was a puke-a-thon. That's how I like to start my shows out. With wretched, vile, disgusting bodily functions, like vomiting. Anyway, let's look at these hot topics. What's trending? Mookie's trending. Dodgers nearing a massive long-term deal with outfielder Mookie Betts. I don't understand it. Mookie Betts, I thought there was Mookie Blaylock and Mookie Wilson. I don't understand how many Mookies can play professional sports. How many people named Mookie? If your name is Mookie, your destiny is to become a professional baseball and or basketball player. Although there's only been one person who's done that. It was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's like, I am so freaking good at basketball, I'm gonna play minor league baseball. I'm gonna popularize minor league baseball. Michael Jordan, what a guy that guy was, huh? I mean, he is. What a meme he's become. Guys, I don't know about you, but what kind of name is Mookie? I feel that was not a very flattering name, Mookie. Oh, look at him. He's so cute. We're going to call him Mookie. It's not a very, very, very nice name. Hocus Pocus, that's a good one. Yeah, okay, Griff, we're going to get to these witch movies, but first, we do hot topics on this show. Not like any other show you've ever seen. We do hot topics. How you doing? Now we're going to have hot topics. I am not Whoopi Goldberg at all. I got to work on my Whoopi Goldberg impression. I got to wear dreadlocks. I should do that. I used to have braids. I used to have braids down to my damn shoulders. I used to have braids down to my damn shoulders. Spacejam. Oh yeah, that's a good one. We should talk about the new Spacejam at some point. We should dedicate an entire week to Spacejam, an animated Warner Brothers movies featuring Michael Jordan's and Bill Murray's. Wait, isn't Kobe gonna be in the new Spacejam? Is the new Spacejam out yet? I don't even understand the status of Spacejam currently. We need to understand where Spacejam is at. Spacejam. It's great. It's a classic. It's got so many songs on it, like the one by R. Kelly, I Believe I Could Fly. He believed he could fly. R. Kelly. you know, predatory. Here's the song that no one could ever listen to in the history of songs. It's written by R. Kelly and performed by Michael Jackson, which is You Are Not Alone. The song You Are Not Alone. I am here with you, though we're far apart, is banned. It's canceled forever. You can't sing that song because why? So much predatory weirdness around it. Also, I noticed that R. Kelly has a writing style, which is to write the same song over and over again, because You Are Not Alone is the same song as I Believe I Could Fly. I believe I could fly, you and I alone. Spread my wings and just fly away. I am here with you. See me running through that open door. See, it's same song. I don't know if that's just because I've worked on making many songs. So, like, when I hear a song, I go, oh, that sounds like that song. Sometimes you draw parallels. But we got to cancel both of those songs and those people. You had the single of You Are Not Alone. How long was that magnetic tape? Was it just like from here to here? Here's one of my favorite jokes, and this pertains to our Jesus discussion on Monday. I implore you all to go back and watch Monday's episode, which is up on Twitch. It's up on YouTube. You could rewatch it. It features our friend of the show, Jake A. Talk about Jesus movies featuring Jesus. And one of my favorite jokes about Jesus is this one, guys. And I hope that you have a sense of humor about this and do not take this personally. I do not disparage any particular religion. Just the one that I grew up in. Check this out. Why do so many chicks dig Jesus? Because he sung like this. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That is the best Jesus joke you'll hear all day. Gerardo. I thought Gerardo was trending. Gerardo was a pop sensation for about a month and a half in 1990. Gerardo. He was Rico Suave. We all remember Gerardo. Gotham City. I remember Gotham City. Do you remember that Prince did the soundtrack for Batman? Guys, if there was not enough cool stuff about the 1989 movie Batman, directed by Tim Burton, starring Michael Keaton and Kim Basinger and Jack Nicholson, if there was not enough coolness, hey Eva, what's up, about that movie, it was, the soundtrack was Prince. It's got to be the best Batman movie ever. Prince did the soundtrack. Bat Dance. Prince was like doing Two-Face as Joker. Weird. It was weird. He did Joker as Two-Face and did the Bat Dance. Why is Lando trending? Breaking. Donald Glover is returning as Lando Calrissian for his own Disney Plus series. What? This is news to me. Guys, stop the presses. We gotta talk about this. What's up, 420 artists? We're talking about our friend Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, aka not Danny Glover's son, people who think that people who are black and have the same last name are all related, like Jamie Foxx and Red Fox. They're not related people. So a lot of people think that. They're like, oh, Danny Glover, right? He's a black guy that I have in my head, and Donald Glover has the same last name, and he must be related. Sometimes that happens. A lot of people think that. Like, I didn't even know Domino Gleeson was related to Dominic Gleeson or the other Gleeson the other day, but they're not black. They're Irish. Check this out, though. Breaking news. Donald Glover is returning as Lando Calrissian for his own, and they're not even black Irish, Calrissian for his own Disney Plus series. What? I'm signing up for Disney Plus again, even though I already have a subscription. I'm going to give them 2 subscriptions to watch that. That's pretty great, guys. Who wants to see Lando being sexy with robots? Me. Who doesn't? Lando Calrissian. Hey, robot. Lando Calrissian. Like, you'd have like, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is baby Dr. Yoda. I am in a galaxy far, far away from you because I'm trying to safely social distance during the coronavirus. And then Lando be like, hey, Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci. You're 50 years old. You're only 25 years older than me. That doesn't mean anything. Jesus, that's weird. Sorry. I'm just saying, Lando gets weird and freaky. He got weird and freaky with that lady robot, and then turned the lady robot into the Millennium Falcon. That's weird. Lando Calrissian. He'd be like, hey, IG-11. I know you're just a droid. I think that's pretty much his deal, right? He's universally opportunistic. He'd just be like, hey, roll of tape. I know you're just an inanimate roll of tape, but I'm Lando Calrissian. I think that's a series worth watching. I'm excited about that. Who's excited about that? Speaking of hot topics, space, galaxies far away, Dune, that's a movie featuring space witches. And what are we talking about today? Witches and witchcraft and movies featuring witches. Do you guys like witches? Which witch is which? I noticed that K-Griff brought up Hocus Pocus. That's a pretty good one. Hocus Pocus. I think they're making a sequel to Hocus Pocus. Would you guys want to see a sequel to Hocus Pocus? I have already bought my ticket to Hocus Pocus. I think movies in the future are going to be like this. You're going to actually do a Kickstarter first for the movie. And like Super Troopers Part 2, you're going to pay for the movie ticket before the movie comes out. I think that's how movies are going to work in the future. Because the audiences are starting to make the movie first. Practical Magic is also another good one. I do like that one. I think it's funny because, dig this. What if there's an idea for a movie that wants to be made? Someone has a screenplay, right? And then you give them $15 or $20 toward making that movie. This is going to be the new studio system. I propose it. You say, well, here's the idea. Here's the sizzle reel. We put our own money into making like a fake trailer for that movie. And this is already happening. This is already being done. And then all we need is $20 from every single person. And then we'll make the movie. And then once we make the movie, everybody who supported it gets to watch it for free. And then anybody who wants to watch it after that has to pay for a ticket. That way, we get to see the movies that are the movies that we want to see only. Sabrina the Teenage Witch was pretty good. That was always on in my house for some reason. There was a talking cat. The cat always spooked me because it looked like it was dead. It was like... Remember the cat? The talking cat? How can you forget a talking cat? If I ever encountered a real talking cat, I would not forget. Ange brought it up first. Angie, you get all the credit for Hocus Pocus. Practical Magic, that's a good one. I know my sister Veronica would always watch that one. Super Troopers, 420 Artists says Super Troopers was filmed right here. Funny stuff. Interesting. So 420, you're in New York? You're in upstate New York? Because I know my buddy, my former roommate, was working on Super Troopers when we were living together. My friend Chris Buchachin. His name is Chris Buchachin. We called him Crispy Chicken. He was working on that movie as a grip. And he would come home every day and be like, this movie's gonna be real funny. He watched them filming Super Troopers, the first one. Yes, he was in like, I guess, Westchester County filming that. What is it about witches that we like? Why do we like this idea of someone being able to cast a spell on someone? I think it's because we could get that revenge. We could poke a needle in a doll, or make Jack Nicholson, who plays the devil. I should have brought him up yesterday because didn't he play Satan himself in Witches of Eastwick? Can I get a talking cat? I probably could. I have a bear here.
This looks like a big, strong bear, doesn't he? I can probably be... I cannot be a cat. I'm too big to be a cat.
I saw this video yesterday of a bear just smashing a door down. So sometimes if you live in an area with successful barrier between you and a bear, because I was watching this video and the bear just went and the door just kind of broke off its hinges. The bear just decided to come into the house because he smelled honey or something. He said, I don't care about your lock on your door. Let's catch up with... Hey, Kelsey Polk. Kelsey Polk. I think Kelsey was James K. Polk. That's what the K stood for in his middle name. That president, James K. Polk, his name was James Kelsey Polk, I think. I'm pretty sure. I know history. Salem was a puppet. What does that mean? Eva says, I've heard amazing things about The Witch, the horror film, but haven't watched it yet. But it's Witch with 2 V's. Wow, that's like Bewitched. Yet it's about witches. Which witches? All the witches. That's how many witches are in that. They're gonna make a remake of The Witches. Or are they gonna make a remake of The Witches? Probably. I would like to see The Craft come back. Didn't it come back as a TV series or something? With Fairuza Balk? Remember The Craft? That one creeped me out when I was a kid. Freaked me out. I was like, wow, this is scary. I was like the same age as them, I guess. And I was like, I know these girls at school. Are they casting spells on me? Probably not. They didn't even notice you. Let's see. Jake A. The cat Salem and Sabrina. That's right. It was a puppet, which is why it looked dead. Oh, right. Yes. The cat Salem and Sabrina was a puppet, and it looked dead. But that, I mean, it had that uncanny valley-ness going where you were like, if it's holding very still, it looks like a cat, but then its eyes would blink and its mouth would move, and you were just like, stop it. But it was funny. He was a funny cat. He had funny things to say. It was a sitcom after all. Incidentally, Melissa Joan Hart grew up in the same town, the same area I grew up in, Sayville, Long Island. Melissa Joan Hart. She's a homeboy. She's a home slice. I love Suspiria too, but the original, but the dude's beautifully done in the... Now let's talk about Suspiria, Eva. I was watching Suspiria. We was watching Suspiria just a month ago, and it was hard to stay awake for most of it. Listen, I don't hate it. I think that Tilda Swinton is probably the coolest human. If you were to line up all the humans, you would easily say, well, Tilda Swinton's obviously the coolest one out of all of them. Just look at them. She's just cool. However, the problem with that movie is it was good and it was creepy, and I got about 3/4, 2/3 of the way through. It was just it wasn't really grabbing me in a way that I wanted it to. I do love, however, that the soundtrack was done by Tom York, who, by the way, is trying to jump onto that whole scoring movies thing that his bandmate and friend Johnny Greenwood from the band Radiohead. I'm talking about the new Suspiria. I haven't seen the old Suspiria. Tom York, though, the song is amazing. The song for Suspiria is really kind of an amazing song. I do like. Pardon me, I'm drinking coffee. Suspiria is very. I'm gonna finish watching it and tell you what I think. I think, however, Johnny Greenwood's got about a decade and a half on making soundtracks on Tom York. So, though the soundtrack was good, Tom York can be... I've got thoughts about Radiohead. It's one of my favorite bands ever, Radiohead. And, but the problem is, whenever Tom York does his own thing, it gets a little weird and sleepy. He's like... You know what I'm saying? That's, Tom York. I love him, but Coolidge Point in Massachusetts, 420 artist says. The Craft was a cool movie. Yeah, The Craft was cool. It took that whole goth aesthetic of the 90s and was like, yeah, don't mess with those kids in high school because they will murder you. Yeah, the remake is sleepable. It's a sleepable Suspiria. I'm suspicious of Suspiria. Make it as sleepable. Let's see. Who else? There was a band named Goblin. Yeah, Goblin did this. I heard about this. My friends who could speak on this matter, my friend Lee and Sam, my friends Lee and Sam, they could speak on this for sure. Considering the fact that they mentioned this on an episode of Boxtober on Aristotle Full Throttle. If you go back and watch my videos on my channel, I have a video featuring Lee and Sam Boxleitner talking about Suspiria and talking about the band Goblin and urging me to check out the band Goblin because I guess that's the best band you want to get for your to score your soundtrack is a band called Goblin. Unless it's about sandwiches, because then it'd be Goblin sandwiches. Highly recommended. I will check it out. The original Suspiria soundtracks, yes. Goblin. Italian bands named Goblin. Do you guys ever see the movie Anvil? Italian cinema is something incredible. Guys, a few years ago, this is kind of funny. There's an actor in Italian cinema named Marco Mastrioni. Marco Mastrioni. And I was hit by a car about 9 years ago. And the guy who hit me, I'm just going to put this out there because, he drove into me and nearly murdered me. But there's a Marcello, that's it. Marcello Mastrioni. This dude had the exact same name. The guy who hit me when I got hit by a car, when it was filled out on the police report, it said Marcello Mastrioni. And I was like, that like the Italian actor? I got hit by a car by a guy named Marcello Mastrioni. Mastrioni. Twitches. If I was ever a young black girl, Twitches was great. Well, I can't say that I was, but I'll check it out. If you watch Twitches, just make sure you're a young black girl. You'll love it. I like witches. I like kind of that evil spirit type of deal. I liked the movie The Witch. I actually shot a poster for a movie about a witch, sort of thing. A lady in a tree. Recently, it's on I think IFC now. Go check that out if I can remember the name for it. I think it's called Hag or something. It's not called that. Mansion just popped up so fast. What's Mansion? Maryland Mansion? Let's see what other witch movies we can talk about here. Yeah, The Wretched. That's the one. If you guys have seen The Wretched, I took that picture. You guys could go check it out. It actually comes up when you type in witch movies on Google. The girl in that poster was sitting right there, in that spot right there. So that picture of that thing was taken right there. Pretty neat. Little inside scoop. Blair Witch, guys. How do we not mention Blair Witch Project? Is that not the scariest movie ever? I don't know because I haven't seen it yet. Brave. Now, do the Harry Potter movies count as witch movies? Because there's warlocks and witches. You're a wizard, Harry. Are they wizards? They're just all wizards, right? And wizardettes. I don't know how the wizard works. I know that a witch has a male counterpart called a warlock. And do you guys remember the warlock movies featuring that dude? I remember those movies. Those are pretty cool. They made about... How many of those did they make? There goes Twitches. Oh yeah, there's the twins. Because they're twin witches. Get it? What was the show that they were? That was, I guess that was the show, huh? Here's a show that I loved growing up. Did you guys watch this? Bewitched? With Samantha and Darren Dawood. Now, I grew up, my mom would watch Bewitched all the time. I watched that. She would do that thing with her nose. Din, 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 din. And she would make people disappear and appear. I thought that was a pretty funny show. Although they tried to make it seem like we would not notice that the dicks were replaced. I think it was now let me explain. Bewitched, the TV series from I guess the 60s, right? No, the 70s, 64 to 72. Featured Elizabeth Montgomery, I believe, played. Yeah, she played Samantha the Witch. And then her husband was played by Dick York. And then was replaced by another actor named Dick Sargent. I don't know at what point people... I think Dick York was way funnier, though. If you guys watched that show. I don't know why he was replaced. Does anybody know why Dick York was replaced by Dick Sargent? Originally Dick York, later Dick Sargent. They replaced the Dick. I don't understand. And Paul Lynde was in that show, and how amazing is Paul Lynde? Paul Lynde being clearly a very dramatic and flamboyant individual in the 60s and 70s on TV. You know, that makes me think of like how marginalized people are and how we've always accepted them on some level in society. People like, I mean, I don't think it's any secret that Paul Lynde was a flamboyant man. There's a list of funny... I mean, it's funny, but it's also sad. There's like a list of... I'm not sure I should bring this up, but a director I work with, he's openly gay, and he's a very funny, awesome director. He posted this thing a couple years ago on his Facebook, which was a list of terms people would use as code to describe someone who was gay, but decades ago. And the list contained the weirdest allusions toward people that people would say in order to tell in code to other people, by the way, that guy, because obviously you have to out other people back then. But it would be the weirdest types of statements like, well, you know, Paul, he likes to call his mother on Sundays, if you know what I mean. He wears shoes that are a little too tight. Like there were these weird kind of mean things that people would say about other people who were gay to indicate to other people to out them. And it was kind of the director I'm talking about, he's very hilarious and likes to always kind of present these things as, look how far we've come, that we can actually start to accept people openly now. More so than we used to, but still not enough. He likes to have his tea at 3:30. Like, it was just the weirdest list of really ridiculous statements that would out people. But anyway, Paul Lynde, R.I.P. Center Square. We do love Paul Lynde. He was the rat in Charlotte's Web. You guys remember that? I'm pretty sure he was. Let me see. Do you guys remember the Black Cauldron? Did you ever watch the Black Cauldron? Yeah, Paul Lynde, Charlotte's Web. He was my favorite character in Charlotte's Web. Oh, no, Charlotte. So funny. I think the caffeine is wearing off. I need a magical spell to keep going. My mom's a witch. Did I mention that? My mom is a certified Wiccan pastor. I'm not joking. I'm serious. My mom is a witch. She's not a twitch. She's just a regular witch. Anybody else out there a witch? If you were to become a witch, what would be the hat that you would wear? Oh, I think we've lost our YouTube connection. That's why I'm not seeing any comments. Yes, connection expired. Sorry, guys. I'm not seeing your comments. That's why the show is slowing down. Let me hop back on there, and let me just explain. There's like a little weird technical difficulty going on with my chat here, my third-party chat server. So I can't quite see your comments, but now I can. Sorry, guys. There it is. Paul Linden, Bye Bye Birdie was so great. Yes. Now we can back. I was like, nobody seems to be commenting on anything. I wasn't seeing your comments until now. Now I'm back. Here we go. He physically couldn't act anymore. Dick York was replaced. Okay, so now we're getting back to that discussion. I didn't. Oh yeah, he did have a physical issue going on, but I didn't realize it was that early on the show. That's sad. Dick York was very, very funny. I always liked Bewitched, and I also liked I Dream of Jeannie. But I liked I Dream of Jeannie because as a young boy, you develop crushes on people. And I liked Barbara Eden. I think there's really not much more that goes into shows like that. It's like, it has magic and Barbara Eden, and that was a weird show. It was a very weird show, because she was very objectified in that show. The Black Cauldron was so dope. I watched The Black Cauldron in school as a kid. We had an assembly, and then they had it on a film reel, and then they showed it to us as kids. And they freaked us out. I have not seen Return to Oz ever. However, I know Fariza Bulk is in that, and there's a whole hallway filled with heads in it, and it's creepy as F, and I do want to see that movie. Yes, my mom really is a Wiccan minister. She's an ordained Wiccan minister. Yes, it happened. It's true. She could marry people, but only in like Massachusetts, even though she's in New York. The Crucible is good. However, The Crucible by Henry Miller was more about the Red Scare and all that. And there never was witches in real life, but they tried to say that the women in Salem and stuff were witches, and it was kind of crazy. Here's the thing that happened with that, guys. There's a thing that can happen to wheat where a fungus grows on your crop of wheat, and that fungus can cause hallucinations and weird behaviors, just like, say, mushrooms or LSD. So during that time, when people were eating this tainted food supply in Massachusetts, people would go on these trips for hours and then have these kind of psychotic breaks because they were having drug-induced psychotic breaks. This is the theory anyway. This is what they speculate happened. So people did not understand mental illness. They did not understand hallucinations from eating a fungus as well as they do today. So they didn't correlate the behavior of certain people with the fact that they were consuming a product that made them hallucinate and behave weird. So they thought they were possessed by demons. And they would burn them at the stake and all that stuff. And they would exile them and dunk them in the water. Here's the catch. When you were a witch, you got dunked in the water, and they were like, well, if she drowns, then we know she wasn't a witch. But if she floats... The funny thing is like, if she drowns, we know that she was pure and she was not a witch, and she's dead. If she floats, we know that she's a witch, then we gonna kill her. So there was no way out of that situation. And that is the patriarchy in a nutshell. Is it not? Listen, we're gonna check see if you were a witch. And we're gonna do that by dunking you in a lake. If you die, then we'll be like, oh, she was not a witch. My bad. If you survive, then we know you're a witch. We're going to kill you. A lot of things about types of therapy that we didn't understand. I do want to talk about a show about like mental illness and stuff like that, because I feel like there's a correlation between mental illness and the understanding of how mental illness works, particularly with like Kanye West in the news right now. I think we should talk about how mental illness affects people and around them, and how perhaps we should treat people who have severe mental illnesses. And also, I really want to thank you guys for being so involved in the conversation, because obviously the show does not exist without you. I appreciate you. See, like I was at a loss 2 minutes ago when I realized that the chat was not connecting. I was like, uh-oh, the conversation has ceased. This is a conversation, and I enjoy chatting and conversing with y'all. But the whole idea about shock therapy and stuff like that to cure people who have, or treat people who have severe mental illness, it has positive results, but it's incredibly archaic. If you guys have seen Homeland, the main character undergoes shock therapy, where they take electrodes to your brain, to your cerebral cortex, and then they shoot electricity through your brain. And then somehow your body recompensates, and then you can actually sort of have a stable mood for a while. However, this is like dates back to like lobotomizing people and cutting their brain and trying to get them to be submissive, to try to get people to behave the way you want them to. And not everybody does. And this is a really common theme in the whole idea of witches and persecuting people and calling them and accusing them of witchcraft and evil. Because we don't understand how mental illness works. We don't understand, still to this day, widely. We don't appreciate how it works. I've worked as a counselor and a case manager for people with mental illness, and I've been fortunate enough to be in service to people who need help on certain levels. But guess what? People don't understand. They're people. People have mental illness. They're not the mental illness. You can't, when people say, oh, they're a schizophrenic, they are a bipolar, they are this, they are a this. That's not how it works. They are a person who suffers from that or has that as well. We have to really rearrange the dialogue and the way we address mental health issues in this country. Because Kim Kardashian, as much as I think the Kardashians, in defense of Kim Kardashian, speaking of witches, I'm just kidding. No, she, I think, is using her celebrity and wealth for good things right now. And, you know, there's been a lot of times we disparage Kim Kardashian and stuff like that because of, like, what do you do that's so great that makes you so rich? It's like, well, I film myself on camera with Ray J. That's what I do. I don't know what you do. My dad likes to defend double murderers, and that's why I'm famous. And my mom married a freaking decathlete gold medalist. I don't know. I'm making fun of the fact that Kim Kardashian perhaps has been looked at as someone who doesn't have any talent whatsoever, maybe rightly so. However, her husband and her family and she herself is taking it upon herself. She has done such really great work, guys. Check this out. Kim Kardashian helps exonerate folks who are on death row in the Innocence Project. She is helping use her wealth and celebrity to get people who are incarcerated falsely freed. That's freaking amazing. She also came out with a statement today in defense of her husband, who suffers a severe mental illness. But she illustrated he should not, they are really leaving him to his own devices on this, and I think, or at least help illustrate the fact that Kanye still is a brilliant musician. As a musician myself, I look at Kanye and I go, but there's so many things that he says publicly and where I'm like, ooh, he should be on some kind of medication right now, or he should be being looked after at this time, because sometimes when people decompensate like Kanye is right now, there ought to be people in his corner that are protecting him. So, but at the same time, Kim came out and was like, hey, look, my husband has a severe mental illness, and perhaps we should look at him more with compassion than disdain. I agree with that. However, there should be people being like, Kanye, we love you. We're going to put you inside for a while. And we're going to channel this into making music. But the problem is, obviously, Kanye is his own being. He is his own self, and he is going through a thing with unlimited wealth and power at this point. He's a billionaire. So when you're at that level and you have a severe mental illness and you are Kanye West, you are gonna end up doing crazy things. And we gotta just recognize that we shouldn't get too mad at him for saying the things he says, but we should definitely be wise and wary of what the hell's going on with this guy. I don't know. But back in the day, they used to use types of shock therapy. I was mentioning shock therapy on how it's like, hey, how do we get these people to be subordinate? How do we get these witches to behave? How do we get these people in society that are women? There were incels always, I guess. There's always incels yelling at women for being witches. And back in the day, they would like suspend you over a pit of snakes or something like that. And then, of course, in that scenario, people who were behaving oddly and bizarrely, they'd straighten up for a minute. They'd be like, okay, I'm okay. I'll behave. So that was actually a similar neurological shock to the system that brought people to sort of a stable mood for a while, and then they'd have to do it again every now and then. I like the Witches of Eastwick. That was a good one. As someone who's gone through a family member being bipolar, Kim's statement came off as honest and heartbreaking. And I also say that as someone highly critical of the Kardashians. Yes, K-Griff, it is a complicated situation. What do you do with Kanye? Do you say, hey, Kanye, don't do what you are so compelled to do right now? How do you stop a guy who's got $1 billion? He doesn't. It's not that he doesn't know what he's saying. It's just that he's just all over the place. He has disconnected thoughts, and it's a hard situation to deal with if you are someone who cares about someone. And K-Griff, that is important. Thank you for sharing that. You have a situation in which you can be supportive to somebody in a situation where they might need your help at some point, because a lot of times people who have severe bipolar disorder can be a danger to themselves and others. So it's hard. It's hard when you care about somebody in that position. Did you guys see Silver Linings Playbook? A lot of people don't like that movie, but I thought it was pretty good, because I remember working with folks who have various diagnoses, and in that movie, Bradley Cooper plays a guy, and also Jennifer Lawrence plays someone with mental illness. And I really enjoyed that movie too, Eva. I thought that it really put a human face to things. People are like, oh, I didn't like it, it was blah. And I'm just like, you didn't realize that the whole point of that movie is to show that people are people first. And a lot of times, you don't know how many people you're encountering throughout. I'm just catching. My mom wrote something here. Sorry. Dick York got sick, I think. And yes, he's much better. The second Darren always seemed pissed off by Samantha, but York as Darren seemed to genuinely love Samantha, even with all the aggravation. Oh, that's an interesting insight. That was my mom's favorite show. She's talking about Bewitched. She's sending this in text. And then the people in town used these instances to acquire property from the condemned opportunists as... I'm not sure what movie she's talking about there. But yeah, that's an interesting. My mom would always watch Bewitched at home, and I definitely watch it. But getting back to Silver Linings Playbook, it was really good because it felt like real people dealing with a real situation, like family and love. And when your loved one starts to behave in a way that you're like, uh-oh, we're gonna go down this road now for the next few weeks or a few months, because it goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down, and it's hard to deal with when you're someone who cares about these people. Yeah, I think Silver Linings Playbook is a nice little movie. Oh, I think my mom's talking about Silver Linings Playbook. It's a nice little movie that I think it's not trying to be spectacular. It's not trying to be anything more than it is. It's just saying, look, this is a family dealing with a situation where someone in the family has a little bit of a mental illness that can affect everyone involved. And what they want in life is just love and connection, just like all of us, right? We all just want love and connection. This is a universal thing. And when we objectify people who have a mental illness and say, oh, well, that person is just crazy, and discard them, we're also discarding the fact that they want what we all want, which is love and connection and peace. That's why I say we defund the police. Put more money toward mental health services, because guess what? So many people in that situation would benefit from somebody who understood that they were suffering from a mental health issue than, say, a cop showing up to a situation with a gun. And a person with a mental health issue seeing a cop show up might feel threatened and act out and then get shot. So when we have people who are trained to talk to people who might be going through a decompensatory period in their life, meaning that they're not able to manage their mental illness in that moment, we have to be there for those people. Okay? We don't have to shoot them. Let's see. I should revisit Silver Linings. Candyland says, I have trouble with movies like that. One in Good Will Hunting, where the main conflict is mental and internal. I think we're used to external conflicts. Interesting. You have trouble with movies. What do you mean by that? You have trouble. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Is it in the sense that they're not like duking it out? They're more like having an internal struggle and talking about their feelings about trying to deal with their mental health issues. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. It's a little bit more ethereal in the sense that you can't really demonstrate an internal struggle as well. But I think Good Will Hunting is an excellent example of how everybody involved is human, even the therapist, even Robin Williams. His birthday was yesterday, I think. Happy birthday, Robin Williams. We all miss him. He had a severe mental illness. He had bipolar. And the thing about bipolar is sometimes it can be very helpful if you're a creative person. It's also very harmful because it is a disorder and it can be very difficult to manage. And sometimes people who are gifts to the world like Robin Williams can express their talents with the energy that they're supplied with in times of having a manic period. And that is actually, I mean, we see that a lot. You know, Mozart was arguably bipolar. There's a lot of different very famous creative people who have suffered very severe mental illness. And I do love Good Will Hunting because they show that relationship between the therapist and the client, but the only person to actually get through to Will in that movie is a guy he's got his own problems too, so they're connecting on having similar backgrounds and on having a similar upbringing. And even though they break a lot of rules in their client-patient relationship or their client-therapist relationship, it's very human, and we like that. We like to see that. I like to see that. I like to see people. So many artists and comedians have mental illness. Yeah, mental illness is not a thing that should be. There should be no stigma it has a stigma. When you think, oh, that person has mental illness, you kind of, it's easy to dismiss them, but it's not a good idea because so many people you encounter throughout the day will have some kind of mental illness or another, and you might think, oh, well, this is their behavior, they're just being a dick to me, or they're just doing this. Like, no, well, maybe they're struggling with their own thing right then and there, and you gotta like kind of compensate for that. You gotta say, oh, okay, well, this person might be dealing with some kind of thing and it has nothing to do with me, and I should maybe have a little bit more compassion for those people. Candyland says trouble is not the right word. It's harder to convey that struggle through film. Watching Good Will Hunting long ago, I didn't understand why a kid who solved a math problem at the beginning of the movie still struggled. But I guess that's where the internal conflict was an issue for the protagonists. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I definitely related to Will in that situation, in the situation of him just wanting to do his own thing and not really want to be like he wanted to prove that he was as capable and as worthy as all of the other people that were at the fancy ritzy school of MIT, and he was mopping the floors, and he's like, well, these kids are privileged maybe to have the experience of going to MIT, yet I am underprivileged but still am capable and worthy. But he was his own worst. In Good Will Hunting, Will is his own worst enemy in that. That's kind of he is his own antagonist in that movie, which I thought was really good. But I hear you, Condi. Sometimes if there's a situation that we don't necessarily relate to right off the bat, it may not connect with us immediately. And that's why I don't watch strawberry shortcake movies, because I don't understand. I can't relate. K Griff says, I know a lot of people aren't crazy about Pete Davidson, but I admire how much and how open and honest he is about his mental health. Yes, Pete Davidson openly talks about having borderline personality disorder, which is a very, very difficult mental health condition to treat and also to live with. So having known someone with that in my life, it is very difficult because they tend to lash out. But I guess having compassion is the right way to go in that situation. Shy says, I think it's strange it's called mental illness. I think the name itself lends itself to immediate distancing. Yeah, I think it's maybe mental health condition is maybe a little bit more positive, illustrative of a positive way of coining it. Mental health condition. But, you know, a lot of this idea of the scorning of witches come from a background of paganism, which is just basically worshiping nature. It's just nature. People were in contact and connection with nature in a different way back then. But for some reason, this group of people who were particularly Wiccan and pagan were demonized. Yet if you think about it, they were just a bunch of hippies digging it. They were like, hey, check this out. If you mix this bark with this tree leaf, you know, then your pain goes away. And they were actually medicine makers and people who understood nature a little bit better. They were like, hey, check it out. If you grow this plant and then you smoke it, you're going to see some different color with a pestle and a crucible or whatever it's called. And then that's what they were doing. They were making things. Pagan isn't anything. Yeah, pagan is just funny because we sit there and try to distance ourselves from the idea of paganism, right? But we just do it every day. Every day is a pagan day. Catholicism is a great example of that. Everything in Catholicism is kind of a joke because it's all based on some kind of pagan religion, pagan ceremony. Christmas time, it's all based on the same stuff, like the summer solstice. Every holiday is around Easter is like a fertility celebration. Rabbits and eggs, what does that have to do with Jesus? Nothing. It has everything to do with fertility and spring and coming up out of the soil, and it's all about that. Eve's Bayou. That's a good one. Eve's Bayou. We love witch movies. There should be more, right? I think we really need to... There's got to be like a real good Wiccan movie. Now I'm inspired. I should write a witch movie. Let's all write the witch movie together. We'll crowdsource it. We'll make like a Mad Libs witch movie. I'll just start writing it. The Love Witch. I like The Witch. The Witch was pretty good. I had that on yesterday's episode about the devil, but The Witch was pretty good movie. They eat a baby in that. It's creepy. If you like horror movies, that's definitely a horror movie. Juicy Smoulier. Juicy Smoulier has a sister? We all know Juicy Smoulier. Juicy Smoulier. I'll tell you what. He cast some kind of spell on the public, Juicy Smoulier. He said Juicy Smoulier tried to pull the wool over everybody. Juicy Smoulier. What are we going to do about him, everybody? We got a minute and a half left here on Instagram. So I hope you all on Instagram can jump over to Twitch. Twitch.tv/Aristotle Full Throttle. And they can continue the conversation there. Juicy Smoulier. He magically got attacked. Good golly. What are we going to do about Juicy Smoulier? I'm asking for real. I did like that show, by the way, Empire. It was the greatest show on TV, I think. I watched the first 2 seasons. It was friggin' great. I haven't caught up to what... I don't even know if it's still on anymore, but... I mean, we are talking about mental illness, and our friend Howard, Terrence Howard, is in that movie. And Terrence Howard, if you have the chance to check out the video clip of him understanding the Pythagorean universe, there's a moment where Terrence Howard has like a severe delusional state. It's kind of crazy. I don't want to I don't know. It's funny to watch, but it's also sad because you go, here's a guy who is delusional, and it's sad to watch, but at the same time, it's kind of funny. I don't know. It's not funny at all, actually. If you think about it, it's not funny at all. But people did make fun of Terrence Howard for a while because he was trying to state that he could understand the universe without gravity, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. You know what? I retract my former statement. It is not funny. It's very sad. We should all pray for Terrence Howard. We should all pray for Kanye West. And we should all laugh at Juicy Smoulier. We should laugh at that guy. That guy's... He really gave himself enough rope, if you know what I mean, to hang himself. That's bad, sorry. I mean, he had a fake noose around his neck, is what I'm trying to say. That he put there himself and left on there for hours. There's so many sommeliers. I didn't know how many sommeliers there were. Does Midsommar count? Yeah. Does Midsommar count? Midsommar was creepy AF, man. I'll tell you. I didn't understand Midsommar. I thought that movie got weirder and weirder as it went, and that they just started to kind of make up stuff as they went along. I liked it a lot, and I got creeped out, and I can't look at a bear the same way ever since. But when I think about that movie and watching that movie, I go, hey, I'm rewatching it in my head, and every 5 minutes, especially the second half of the movie, you're like, wait, now they're just making that up. And wait, now they're just making up. It seemed like such elaborate customs in this weird cult in the Midsommar movie, where you go, they are literally just taking us down a rabbit hole and making up stuff to be weirder and weirder because there's no way they can maintain those traditions. Spoiler alert, semi-spoiler alert for Midsommar. There is a lot of death that is traditional in a society. How do you maintain a society where you just continually just keep killing people in it? That was my one problem with that movie. It was just like, you guys seem to be killing more people than you're inducting, and y'all seem cool with this. But I guess they tried to impregnate a new generation of people to kill. But yeah, it was very strange. You're trying to figure out my Twitch. Did you stop streaming on there, or is it my app messed up? It says past broadcast. I don't know. The Twitch system, I mean, it says I'm still broadcasting. I should be still out there. I don't know. My whole system here is kind of... The promise is not being fulfilled. Let's see. Am I still streaming on there? Which movies? It doesn't look like I'm still streaming on there. I don't know what happened. I'm still streaming on YouTube. What? Only 42 seconds on Twitch. That's weird. I'm gonna have to upload this later. Huh. That's weird. I don't know what's going... Yeah. It's not... Eva, I don't know what's going on with that. I should be continuing the stream right now, but... Now I'm miffed because it doesn't seem to have gone to Twitch. Well, I guess if you're on YouTube, that's... I gotta call the IT crowd. I gotta call myself. I have to turn it off and on again. Huh. That's weird. It says only 58 seconds of footage, yeah. Well, I'll try to solve that in my time off, but thank you guys for hanging out on YouTube. See, this is why we need... I need to get a Maurice shirt. Oh, you got a Maurice shirt. Moss. Now I'm really miffed that my Twitch isn't working. What the heck is going on with that? It says I'm streaming. It says my signal's good. Sorry guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It's nothing. I did nothing different today than I did yesterday. Twitch doesn't seem to like it. Have I tried unplugging it? Have you tried turning it off and on again? This is sound advice from the IT crowd. Yeah, I don't think the refreshing is going to work. I'm seeing the same thing that Eva is seeing. It says, 1 hour ago, 12 views. What the hell? Why is that? I guess I'll upload this episode to Twitch, but it's not the same because Twitch is good for live streaming and interacting, and we're not getting our Twitch friends. Our friends from Twitch have been cheap. I don't know what happened there. If you guys are watching on YouTube and you are from Twitch, thank you for coming over to YouTube. I don't know what's going on with the problem. There's obviously a problem there. I'm gonna drop that in the Discord. The live stream. I think think that's right here. Let's see if that works. I feel bad because we lost all of our Twitch friends here. Anyway, I just got Twitch, so wanted to check out how you looked on that platform. Oh, well, thank you, Eva. I would like a more... You guys can get shirts with my face on it if you want. They're called... I've got a link in the description below that you can click on to get my merchandise. Let's see. I think I do. No, I don't. Good golly, why don't I? I need an intern. Let me fix that. Subscribe. Yeah, oh yeah, get some gear. Yeah, they're right there. Okay, sorry. I'm all over the place today. I need a nap. Guys, click on get some gear, and then you could get a mug or a tote bag or a phone case with my logo on it, or a t-shirt that you could wear to bed, or baby clothes with my face on it. Wednesday is troubleshoot day, where we all come here and try to figure out how to do this. This is the thing I love about modern technology, is that all of these things are accessible to us, but sometimes they don't work. But I'm glad they are accessible. And this show has come a long way in a lot of ways. I started about 4 years ago with making videos, and I do want to make longer, in-depth videos that are edited in the future. I just feel like right now is the time to get thoughts out there and talk with people and connect with you and feel like, you know, this is a weird time we're living in. This is a trying time that we're living in. We're kind of trying to deal with all sorts of stuff. It's an election year, probably the most important election year in the history of election years in this country. We really do need to feel like there's some stability. And hopefully I'm trying to provide that. I mean, I am trying to provide that. Hopefully it's working. I hope that there's a feeling of consistency that I can help bring. I know that this helps bring me a feeling of consistency, that we can hang out here and talk and chat on a regular basis and feel like, hey, here's a safe place we could go to just kind of relax and connect and talk to and make new friends and talk about some serious issues, but also talk about some completely frivolous issues like movies. Movies are fun, and movies are a way to escape. And this is a way to escape. It's a way to just be unabashedly yourself. And I accept you, and I appreciate you. And thank you for joining me. Soon I'm going to have more panel kind of discussions, more panel types of discussions. I know if Ron is watching, sorry, Ron. I know Ron was curious whether or not I'd have him on or not. But yeah, anyone's welcome on to have a panel discussion. We can have actual fun involved panel discussions and stuff like that. And talk about maybe, like, I don't know, the new prequel series to the Game of Thrones. I don't know. I'm not too excited about that. I was watching a live panel about that, them discussing that. I'll tell you my feeling on that. Speaking of witches and stuff, I don't think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be okay. And it's just going to rely on all of the stuff we already like about Game of Thrones. So it'll be, by definition, derivative. And it'll be like Better Call Saul. Good show, but we all want it to think the new Game of Thrones series is going to be like. It's going to be lame. Yeah, Shy. See, there's so much divisiveness that Game of Thrones has caused in this world. I did like it a lot. However, it did start to decompensate. It did start to fall apart at the seams. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. Tomorrow on Aristotle Full Throttle, we're going to talk about maybe like fantasy stuff that with dragons and whatnot. Dragons. We're going to talk about dragon movies. Movies featuring
Lock dragons. Rockbiter.
We'll talk about those kinds of movies, guys. Oof. It's time for a nap. HBO has a hard time ending their TV shows. Yes, and that's true. Unless it's The Watchmen. Watchmen was good. That felt like a good ending. And I think they should just end it there. Until they come up with a better idea. Until they write a really, really in-depth follow-up season in the next 10 years or so. I don't want them to rush that kind of show. If they come out with a third season for Watchmen, that better be worked out. So tomorrow, join us as we talk about dragons. Feels gold compass. Aragon. Here, guys. Hop over to the Discord. We'll continue talking there if you like. I have to eat lunch because I am ready for a nap already. It's crazy. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Today's show. Sorry about the technical difficulties over on Twitch. That was not intended. I did the same thing I did yesterday. It's Restream's fault. I'm like the president. I don't take any ownership. Now, I will get to the bottom of that and solve it for you. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Have a great day. I'm Aristotle, Full Throttle, your